Wow! When last did you hear about state of emergency in Nigeria? Can you tell me? When last did you hear about such? Okay, in case you don't know, this is a breaking news. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu had a nationwide broadcast, and in that broadcast, he announced that there will be a state of emergency in Rivers State because of the political tension happening in that state. Recall that since the Supreme Court reinstated the 26 lawmakers of the Rivers State House of Assembly, led by Mr. Martin Amefola, since then, there has been this loggerhead between the governor and the House members. And Nyesom Wike is not even helping issue because the other day he was in Ijo, I think at the weekend, he visited Ijo and he said so many things when he visited. And since then, you saw what is happening in the house. You also saw their body language after the statement made by Nyesom Wike that if Fubara is impeached, nothing will happen. And it looks as if they have even started the process. And the militants in the Niger Delta, in Rivers State in particular, are not happy with what is happening. Okay, let me allow you guys to hear from President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Let him give us the reason why he called for a state of emergency. At the end, we will analyze the whole thing.
Will allow good sense to prevail at the soonest. But all that hope borne out without any solution to the crisis. With the crisis persisting, there's no way democratic governance, which we all fought and worked for over the years, can thrive in a way that will redound to the benefit of the good people of the state. The state has been at a standstill since the crisis started, with the good people of the state not being able to have access to the dividend of democracy. Also, it is public knowledge that the governor of Rivers State, for unjustifiable reasons, demolished the House of Assembly of the state as far back as 13th December 2023, and as up till now, 14 months after, now rebuilt the same. I have made personal interventions between the contending parties for a peaceful resolution of this crisis, but my efforts have been largely ignored by the parties to the crisis. I'm also aware that many well-meaning Nigerians, leaders of thought, and patriotic groups have also intervened at various times with the best of intentions to resolve the matter, but all their efforts were also to no avail. Still, I thank them. On February 28, 2025, the Supreme Court, in a judgment in respect to all about 8 consolidated appeals concerning the political crisis in Rivers State, based on several grave unconstitutional acts and the disregard of the rule of law that has been committed by the governor of Rivers State, as shown by the evidence before it, pronounced in very clear terms. And I quote, "A government cannot be said to exist without one of the 3 arms that make up of the government of a state under the 1999 Constitution as amended. In this case, the head of the executive arm of the government has chosen to collapse the legislature to enable him to govern without the legislature as a despot. As it is, there is no government in Rivers State," and I quote. The above pronouncement came after a catalog of judicial findings of constitutional breaches against Governor Siminalayi Fubara. Going forward in their judgment, and having found and held that 27 members of the House who had allegedly deflected, and I quote, "are still valid members of Rivers State House of Assembly and cannot be prevented from participating in proceedings of that House by the eighth respondent, that is the governor, in cohort with 4 members and on vote. The Supreme Court then made some orders to restore the state to immediate constitutional democracy. These orders include the immediate passing of an appropriation bill by the Rivers State House of Assembly, which up to now has not been facilitated. Some militants had threatened fire and brimstone against their perceived enemies of the governor, who has up to now not disowned them. Apart from that, both the House and the governor have not been able to work together. Both of them do not realize that they are in office to work together for the peace and good governance of the state. The latest security report made available to me show that between yesterday and today, there have been disturbing incidents of vandalization of pipelines by some militants without governor taking any action to curtail them. I have, of course, given the latest security report made available to me show that between yesterday and today, there have been disturbing incidents of vandalization of pipelines by some militants without governor taking any action to curtail them. I have, of course, given...
You all heard him. That was President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He has declared a state of emergency in Rivers State due to the ongoing political crisis. In a nationwide broadcast on Tuesday, March 18, 2025, Tinubu announced the suspension of Governor Siminalayi Fubara, Deputy Ngozi Odu, and all members of the Rivers State House of Assembly for an initial period of 6 months. The decision was made after evaluating the political situation in Rivers State, which has been at a standstill since the crisis started. The state has been unable to function democratically, with the governor and the House of Assembly unable to work together. The Supreme Court had also made some orders to restore the state to immediate constitutional democracy, but these orders have not been complied with. Vice Admiral Ibokette Ibas, retired, has been nominated as administrator to take charge of the affairs of the state. The federal government is expected to oversee the state's affairs during the emergency period, and the citizens have been urged to remain calm and cooperate with authorities. Wow, this is very painful. This is very painful. I don't believe that this is happening. You know, the last state of emergency was issued during the time of former President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. I think it happened 3 times before this one happened. So this is a very painful situation in Rivers State today. The governor cannot perform again. Wike and his people cannot also perform. So who gain? Nyesom Wike did not gain. Siminalayi Fubara did not gain. The House members do not gain. Now, who is at the receiving end? It is the Rivers people, because when 2 elephants fight, the grass will suffer, and they are now suffering what they never partake in. So what do you think about the state of emergency declared by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in Rivers? Drop a comment for me. Let me know what you think. Are you in support of this state of emergency, or are you not in support of it? Drop a comment. Let me know what you think.